So the Gods from the Sheen operations is now fully completed, and a lot of people have me questioning, what do you think about this specific operation? Was it good? Was it bad? Let's take a look around from Gods from the Sheen, the operation.
Welcome home.
Hello guys, this is the Sorter Guy here and welcome back to a new video. I'm gonna share my thoughts and pretty much review the whole Gods from the Sheen operation after I have a little taste of pretty much 8 and 60 man in terms of story mode, and also had a little taste on the Witcher mode, so I can have a little opinion about it and my thoughts about this particular operation itself. So let's start where it actually started. So when was the first boss came out, and when was the Gods of the Machine released? So Gods of the Machine released on April 18th, 2017. So almost 1 year ago, when they released the first boss, Tether. Now, in Tether, or actually let's just go and first of all talk about the design and the detail about IOCAT. Now, every room on these operations are totally different. I really love the second one, so the Ivel and Esni fight, where the atmosphere there is something that we probably not saw before. I really love that design. This triangle arena, and when you need to switch up blue to red colors and all kinds of stuff. These are really cool mechanics. On the Nahut and Skybox ones are not really that good. The only design that I can really talk about is the second boss. I really love that design there, but overall it's just like a mixed up planet with really high-tech computers and just pretty much high-tech weapons, super weapons, all kinds of those stuffs that the IOCATs or maybe the Zildrogs and the Zakulians wanted to use during the war. So it was really good in general, but not really fancy. But let's talk about the bosses in general, and let's talk about Tether. Now, Tether has not really a big mechanic in terms of story mode. All you need to do is just wipe it down, and sometimes you down the ads. However, I tried this one in the hard mode, and on hard mode it's actually really difficult. Especially the ad management is one of the worst like ad managements and the hardest fight because of this ad management in the game. And a lot of people are trying to go for it, including our guild as well. We trying to get through this, and we almost managed to defeat it, but it was like 4% or something like that. So I'm not gonna go break my heart again, but yeah, it was not really like a big mechanic. It still has that red glowing chest, just like what Isaac's had, but more on that later. Now, the second boss is actually a duplicate boss, so two bosses there, Ivel and Esni, the twins. Now, these two twins are pretty much doing, like both of them are doing some kind of beams. So both of them are just pretty much forcing itself to do some kind of beam. But other than that, not really much of a big deal, other than just you really need to watch out which color you're going to go and head it. I did not try this one on hard mode, and the rest I did not try it on hard mode. But on 16 man, it is really hard to fit that many persons in this arena. But on 8 man, it's really manageable, and I think it's fair to say one of the easiest bosses, but one of the coolest looking bosses in this operation. Like, all of the, as I said, all of the design there, or the environment there, the boss mechanics in general, it just looks really fresh and new. Then I think the second boss is one of my favorite bosses in this whole operation itself. So that is really good. Now, the third boss is Nahud, which is really I'm gonna say it pissed me off for the first time, but now I'm just gonna like accept the fact that you need to light a candle to see the boss. Like that is, for me, to be perfectly honest, is really really stupid. Like how would a people say like, okay, let's go and fight this boss and light it up with a candle? Yeah. The mechanics here are not really much of a big deal also. All you need to do is just light this candle and move away from AoEs and stuff like that. But other than that, so after the second phase, all you need to do is pretty much look around of the edge and pretty much kill the ads and watch out if there is a beam coming up in the middle. Then just need to avoid that to not happen. And as soon as you kill at least like 10 of these ads, the boss will lose his shadow, so that means his stealth, and we can start killing him. And until then, he's going to do electric stuff on us, so it was pretty difficult at the end if you're just gonna be really really late and you're just gonna stick in the electric fences or the electric floor for a while. Then it's just gonna be a nightmare to defeat it. But it is an interesting boss mechanics, to say the least, but not really fancy. Like as I said, this candle mechanic, I like it, do not get me wrong, but it's kind of funny like it at the same time. Like how would you light up a boss with a candle? As that's still beyond me. Like I don't know, that's not really my type of thing, but I guess okay. So as I said, that's the only thing that like pisses me off for a little bit. But other than that, it was a middle boss and stuff like that. It's kind of an okay one. Now next up is Skyver. Skyver is not much of a big deal, to be perfectly honest, on 8-man end. As of mechanics, as also not really much of a big deal as well. Like we probably saw this mechanics a million times. Like at the beginning there is a droid there, what you can either interrupt or you can avoid damage, but pretty much just interrupt that droid, and at the end of the day, pretty much that's all you're going to do is to interrupt and put those both shields that they going to aim us into this droid, and then we can move into the second phase, which is pretty much killing two rail turrets again. And after that we're going back to the Skyver phase, which only has one interesting mechanics, which she's going to use this kind of a gravity like landing pad or whatever, which she's pushing us to the sky. So that means we cannot do anything, but that's not really a big portion of this. So other than that, all you need to do is avoid end DPS, to be perfectly honest. It's probably much difficult on hard mode, probably, or 100% sure, but as on story mode, it was a fun boss fight, but not really much of a big deal. Now before I'm gonna move into Isaacs, I'm gonna go and mention how you can get into Isaacs, because that is one of the most unique ways to getting into a boss fight. And first of all, I did not expected this. After we went into Skybox, there was also a mini boss there, and the way the boss is, I'm going to go for that later. But to go for Isaacs, it's also a really really cool stuff to just going these puzzles and stuff like that. As I said, I'm gonna go back to the way how it goes to the bosses a little more, but after that we done with Isaacs. Now that's where probably a lot of people coming from. What do you think about this Isaacs and the whole operation itself? But now I'm just going to talk about Isaacs in general. Now a lot of people suggested and pretty much like speculated that this is the gravestone, because he shoots some kind of omni cannon in the middle. I mean, Skyver said it as well, he's using an omni cannon, but I don't think it is the gravestone. I mean, if it's the omni cannon, probably Tithe has some kind of omni cannon in the middle, because he has some stuff in the middle, and I think Nahoot has something in the middle, but I'm not quite sure. Obviously, he's using the omni cannon, but other than that, the gravestone, I think it's much bigger compared to an Eternal Fleet is probably much better than, or much bigger than the Greystone itself, but I don't think it's that big. I mean, if we're going to take a look at both ways, so I'm just gonna go back and take a picture of the Zakulian Swamp and how is the Greystone looking down, and I'm gonna take a picture here. How big is this Isaac's boss? I mean, it's big, do not get me wrong, but not as big as the Gravestone, I think. It's maybe part in the Gravestone, as as we talked about, and there is a lot of theories about that middle dark area in the Gravestone, but we still don't know anything about the Gravestone other than like it's still on Iocat. So a lot of people like speculated, including Sam and me and the others as well, that this is the Gravestone, but I don't think it is the Gravestone. Maybe just a part of it. Maybe this the heart of the this dark area. It's maybe a part of it. So maybe it's the Gravestone. Maybe Isaac's is the Gravestone, but I don't think it's much. I don't think it's big as the Gravestone itself. So maybe either they pulling down some of the parts, and then this middle dark energy rised, and then Isaac's born or Isaac's returned, or either this is not the Gravestone. It's either one of the the father figure and stuff like that who actually helped created the Gravestone. We don't know anything on that. We don't know any confirmation on that. But let's go and talk about the boss fight in general. This is a 20 or at least a 20 to 25 minute long boss. So this was a first time ever that they done something like that, and it was like a 20 or 25 minute long boss. So that's why you have at least like a 50-minute cooldown for the reses and all kinds of stuff. So pretty much you can res almost instantly to new to players who died. So it's really good. However, it is one of the, I'm not gonna say, but most of the parts on this is also fun at the same time, but messy at the same time, and boring at the same time. Let me just explain how it goes, okay? So, the first part, as you're pretty much entering into the shield, and pretty much all you need to do is avoid ads, avoid damage, and stuff like that. By the way, also you receive an achievement if you're avoiding every damage on the first phase. So, in terms of that is kind of where it started, so that is okay, interesting. Now the next part is where it gets messy, when there's a lot of ads coming in, and all you need to do is fire 2 ads at the boss. So pretty much like one person need to focus, or maybe 2 or 3 person needs to focus on one ad, and after that aim it to another ad, and after that finally hitting into the boss at least 4 or 5 times. So it's kind of difficult, but it's also messy because there is more ads coming in, and I know the field is pretty big, so you can do these ads pretty fast, but like it's to be perfectly honest, it's pretty hard to do a fight like this and coordinate a fight like this. Obviously you can coordinate it, but with a pug it's really difficult to do this one with a pug. So I think you need like at least a coordinated group, or at least a guild with friends and stuff like that to do this and give it more than one try, because you're gonna suffer on this one, that's for sure. So that was the first phase, or the second phase. So the next phase is the Omni Cannon phase, when pretty much Isaac coming in, and all you need to do is DPS the boss and interrupt the Omni Cannon. Now this is where it gets boring. Like, to be perfectly honest, I don't understand why this is in this phase. Like, obviously all you need to do is pretty much interrupt the boss and DPS it. It's pretty much the same, or not the same, but similar on Toboro. Like, all you need to do in Toboro's courtyard is go out from the isotope, and as soon as he shoot the laser, just go back in and DPS. This is the same, except all you need to do is just interrupt, and when you probably almost have enough stacks, around 100 stacks, you need to just blow it up and reset it and do it again until you're going to reach it until 60%, where the next phase is coming in. And the next phase is pretty much the same phase as the second phase, except there is now more orbs, more turrets are targeting you, and all you need to do is the same again, is to targeting the boss fight. So the boss Isaacs in general. That's all you need to do, is just targeting the boss with it. There is like 5 turrets right now, and in the middle one, or there is one, this augment droid, or where you need to aim. So that's where pretty much focus all of the energy on Isaacs, and that's how you can damage Isaacs in general. And after that, the same mechanic is pretty much avoid these lasers pretty much, and after that there is just more ads coming in, and yeah, pretty much that's it in terms of this mechanic. More ads, more lightning stuff. So it's the same mechanic again, but as I said, this is kind of a repetitive stuff, but I'm not gonna judge with this, so I'm just gonna go with okay on this one. Well, now after that, it's pretty much just like avoiding rockets and stuff like that. Not really a big deal, to be perfectly honest. It's just like avoiding rockets and stuff like that. Obviously, if you're not gonna get there, that's fine, because you're gonna receive half of damage, but I assume on hard mode you're gonna instantly die. But after that, there is this Gemini droid, so that means Skyver coming in, and all you need to do is protect her. Now that is where it gets interesting. That's where I start to like it. When you have a big pressure on, you need to defend Skyver for at least 11 or like at least a minute or something, until he is going to reach his breaking point and stuff like that, and that's where you go actually going to defeat Isaacs in general, and that's where you're going to have a big explosion and stuff like that, and then it's pretty much the boss is done. All you need to do is just survive it. If you not survive it, the ending, so that means the big explosion, the boss is going to reset. So pretty much you cannot do anything with that. That means you're just going to die. But as you see here, these little like orbs and stuff like that, that's where it fires to Isaac. So at least they need like what, I don't know, at least 4 or 5 times. And if the Gemini droid is dead, so Isaac Skyver is dead, then that means is going to fire one of these big omni cannons or whatever. That means it's an instant death. So that was it in terms of Isaacs. I really love the part where you just going to, by the way, jiggling back to the shield. It's really funny. It's you look like a dead fish, to be perfectly honest, and that is like a little fun odd nod to that one. But the way how you can actually getting in, now let's talk about these, because there has been like some of the small details that they actually put it into this operation in general. Now, the way how you actually getting into Skyver is also an interesting part, because for example, like Skyver is deep inside the facility in general, so you actually need to go into kind of a swamp area to defeat like some of these spider creatures, and which we obviously did not expect it from IOCAT, because IOCAT is pretty much like a droid planet, so like all of machineries and all kinds of stuff. It's pretty much we expected droid guards and stuff like that. But now on Skybox, you need to kill these lurkers, these spider creatures, and stuff like that to actually getting in to the Skybox boss fight. And also here on Isaacs, there is this little puzzle that you need to do, and this is where it comes a little bit interesting. That is a new mechanic that they released here. It is the Tether, and this Tether, what you can use is use like NPCs and stuff like that to move it closer to you, so you can drag it to whatever you want to. And this is where you can use these pillars to control and contribute laser to the end. It's really simple, to be perfectly honest, but I really love the way how you can get into Isaac's. And also you can use and we also need to use this on the Isaac's boss fight, so that's why they probably introduced it into the puzzle fight, so or the puzzle, so that means you can learn how to use this tether and learn how to use it in other ways on the Isaac's fight, because you actually need it at the second phase when you need a tether and fire up these lightning turrets or whatever, and after that you need it on the fifth phase when Skyver is coming in, and you can drag it whenever you want and stuff like that. So, to be perfectly honest, some of the like at the very beginning is not really good, and some of the parts on Isaac's is really boring, but it is at the end. It's just it's just an okay one in general. Okay, at the end is just really make it, to be perfectly honest. But the beginning part and the middle part is I'm gonna say it's boring, to be perfectly honest. I expected. I don't know what I expected, to be perfectly honest, like a great operation boss fight, I guess, but I did not receive it on my end. But let me know your thoughts about the game update 5.8. Let me know your thoughts about the Gotham Machine operation in general. And what do you guys think of the Isaac's fight and the whole operation itself? Is it a good one? Is it the best one? People saying this is the best operation we've seen in years. So let me know down in the comment section below. I hope you guys did enjoy it, and I will see you guys next time. Bye guys.